Well, hey there, everybody. This is Justin Dyke from CartoonSmart.com, and we've got a newsletter coming up, and I thought it'd be fun to put a little Iron Man type guy up there by the header because we are announcing a lot of big changes. I think I'm just gonna start drawing while I talk about this, and Iron Man's always upgrading his armor, Mach 2, 3, 10, whatever it is. So I think it'd be funny to kind of do a little play on that. And you can see, obviously, I'm just kind of sketching in, it's Adobe Illustrator Draw for the iPad, but it kind of really doesn't matter what the program this would be. So let's sketch out a little guy, and we'll even take him into Adobe Animate, another thing that's gotten a kind of new version of recently. Used to be Adobe Flash. So Iron Man's kind of got this little swoopy thing down here. And I do want to try to sketch a lot more for you guys. Now that I've sort of discovered this program, that'll definitely happen. And I've also realized that I'm not too terrible at drawing. I can get by. So anyway, the kind of perspective here is a little bit down like this. So obviously the mouth is going to be down here. Actually, that's not a bad little line for that. A little bit more like that. And of course we'll do some glowing stuff in the eyes. Iron Man's kind of got this little plate up here, doesn't he? Something like that. Let me redo that. So anyway, in terms of new features on the website, I just kind of cleaned things up. Did a lot of spring cleaning and stuff I knew I kind of needed to do even a year ago. And it's just tough to give you guys all the stuff you want, and then also have a great looking website that is approved by yours truly, the quote-unquote art director around here. So but we've got a new community section, something that we had many years ago actually, and it just wasn't set up right. It too open to spam and everything like that. So now you really either have to be a subscriber or a registered user at least of bought something. But even actually if you buy a free thing, or I shouldn't say buy, but if you get a free thing, you at least have a user account that you can post up on the community forum. But it's I don't know, you guys are probably familiar with forums back in the day, and they were sort of the old Wild West. You could just do anything, but that's not really the case anymore. Okay, don't feel like we're giving him enough of a chin here. I'm not even going to worry about coloring this guy in. I just want to kind of get a big, nice pose in here, and then we'll worry about the rest in Flash. And I'm sort of doing a little cute Iron Man, obviously. He's kind of got little stubby legs to his little thing there. So something like this. I'll wrap this up shortly, and then we'll move over into Adobe Animate, but this will look neat next to the logo, I hope. Not doing a good job with these fingers. That's all right. Him flashing his little beams. I'm sure everyone's excited for the new Iron Man movie. Captain America movie, whatever it is, Avengers movie. Practically is the Avengers. Actually, most people are probably just excited to see Spider-Man. I know my kids are. Okay, so we'll do them kind of posing back like that, and obviously we'll have some nice little shading coming down here, something like that. Well, that doesn't look too good. But it's a start, and let's move this over into Adobe Animate, or if you are still working with Adobe Flash, it's practically the same program. Okay, so since this is going to be the top of the newsletter header, I'm just going to put in the logo right here. Usually I don't shamelessly plug that much, but in this case I will, because I do want to get kind of a feel for this character next to the logo. And all right, so we need to get a nice little red start to this guy. So I'm going to grab a square over here. I'm going to kind of move a little fast here. I don't feel like teaching an Adobe Animate lesson from the bare bone essentials, but I think you should be able to catch up. So I've just got this square, and I'm going to make a fill shape. I'm going to lock up this layer that's got everything else on here, which, by the way, I did just import in by, you could use either the import option or just drag them from your desktop onto there. And I'm just hovering over the sides of the square here and moving the vector points, which you might not be aware of because you don't see them, but they are in there. One of the nice things that I like about Flash is that you don't always have to be aware of them if you don't want to. So to add another point on the Mac, hold down the Option key. On the PC, hold down either the Control key or the Alt key, whichever one gives you a new point when you click and drag out from it. And here we go. All right, so we've got, and if you did want to see the vector points, you can. They're right over there. So we got a nice little base shape for this. I keep wanting to say Flash. Animate Flash. They have kind of two drawing modes. Either you're in your fill mode, which is what we just created, or you're using your ink bottle or your stroke, which does the same thing. It creates this stroke around it, and you can either, if you have just a line, you can kind of bend it like that. And so I've just filled this in with a stroke around it, and you can double click and you can kind of change the width of that. By the way, there actually is a new feature in Animate, which I didn't notice a couple weeks ago, this width tool. This is kind of cool. Look at this. See how you can change the width like that? Pretty slick, huh? So you kind of taper that out a little bit. Maybe on this side feels a little bit. Actually, let's try this. Nope. I want it to be right up at the top. I feel like if it's a kind of top-down perspective like that, obviously you're going to have a little less weight down there than you would up at the top. So that's really slick, actually. And then let's kind of fill in the yellow part of his armor here. And yet again, I'm going to grab another line. Just kind of going to bend this over to here. Just take this point, put it over this way, grab another line. I'm just going to intersect the one that we've currently got, so I kind of know that they're connected together. And I'm going to do that in quite a few places, actually. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of go back through and fix those. And actually, I'm kind of not really using my sketch now, am I? But I could always go over here and take that off and show it again. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm just going to get rid of these extra parts. But by intersecting them, I definitely know that this is now, well, I was about to say, I definitely know that's going to be separate from this other piece, but I think this little part over here, yeah, it's not connecting. So there we go. Now I should be able to select this separately. And instead of just a yellow fill, let's go ahead and grab a gradient. I think that'll look a little bit better. So it's getting cut off from the screen capture, but down here at the bottom, you can see that I do have a gradient selected, and I'm going to go over here to the color panel. And if you find that if you're kind of not seeing the same tools that I am or in the same location, go over here and switch to a classic mode. There's not actually adjusted mode. There should be at this point, but switch to that and you should be able to find your color in there. And I'm serious, there really should be a Justin mode. Hands down, I have taught more Flash tutorials than anybody else on the internet. If anybody wants to try to contest me on that one, I'd love to hear how much you've taught. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm not really bragging, I'm just saying. By now, my preferences should be a lock. You should just go, okay. CartoonSmart preferences. All right, now that's looking pretty good. And I'm not sure, I didn't really tell you guys, but I did put in here another swatch. You just click into there. And we could even go maybe a little bit darker down at the bottom. Let's see. Grab that color wheel. Let's take the brightness down one more time. It does, yeah, it looks pretty nice. There's another thing I often do a lot is I'll set in two dark colors like this, and then I'll put in another lighter one, and it definitely gives you a nice kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Well, chrome type effect like that, or sort of like an airbrush type look. I think I might actually make this head just a little bit bigger. I want it to be obvious that this is meant to be sort of a childish, cartoony version of Iron Man. And there we go. So let's go ahead and by the way, if you do want to free transform to anything, just go over here and hit the Q key, or just go the slow way to that button. And you get some nice handles for moving things up and down. So let's make another layer over here, and we'll pop the eyes in. So let's grab a nice white color. Let's see, do something like that. And we could probably take that stroke off. Let's copy this shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit copy, and then get to know your paste in place hotkey if you're using Adobe Animate / Flash. And that'll just put that right back where it was. I don't know why programs don't always just by default paste back in the same place. They probably do that so you don't, because maybe you didn't realize it pasted in there, but it would be a great preference to set in almost every program. Okay, so what does Iron Man have? Bluish eyes or yellow? I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. All right, let's just call this eyes. And I'm going to convert this to a symbol. You can do that by hitting F8, or you can go another way, which is to right-click on it. And down here at the bottom, it says convert to symbol. It also reminds you that you can use F8, and you can also do it from the top modify menu over here, convert to symbol, and that gives us plenty of nice options over here in filters. So what we could do is put in here a glow filter, and I'm going to set this to being, let me fold this up so you can see it a little bit better. Set this to being probably just a little same color swatch that we're using over there, and then you can get the idea of what's going on. I tend to like to play with the strength a bit, and also have that over here to high. And if you toggle the high, you might have to find that you need to bump the strength up a little bit more. But you can definitely get some interesting effects by changing whether it's the X or the Y that you are playing around on. And okay, so let's do some of that, some of the other lines. I'm going to switch back over here to the layer I was working on before, this one, and we need to put in some more of these kind of mechanical lines. Stuff like that. All right, so from here, let's keep working on that same layer. And Iron Man kind of has like a skull type thing, doesn't he? Has the Punisher ever gotten into an Iron Man suit? Seems like he'd kind of feel at home, because it does feel very skull-like over here. I'm going to squish this a little bit. Maybe skew it up some. And then let's just do a little bit of maybe the kind of the jawbone of the suit. Might switch to a darker red. And I'm just working on a layer below. Let's just say sketch and logo. So this is just below what we currently had. Something like that. Just put another point over there. Let me zoom in a bit. Let's make this a little darker. Just this sliver right here, which is still, well, you know, we could go back over here to the gradient and probably do it there. So just take the brightness down some. Oh, there we go. That's much better. Cool. All right, now if you get something that you like, here's something you can do. Just select it all. Let's make this into a symbol head, just like we did before. And That way it's also in the library, so if we need to pull it back out again, there it is. But we can also put in here some more filters. I love me some drop shadow filters, especially if you go over here to inner shadow, and you'll notice now that the shadow is on the inside. So you could take this down to take the strength down a little bit, move it around, do some things like that, which kind of sort of to me feels like some free shading. You know, you can take the blurring down, so then you got this hard edge to it, and that does not look kind of cool, right? And you could even swivel it all the way to the bottom, do something like that maybe. Let's see. So that would kind of solve what we were just dealing with the making the bottom part darker, but I sort of like that it on the one side. Something like that. Okay, all right. Well, I think we spent enough time on the head, and if you did want to make the entire head one piece, oh, I forgot that little bottom part back there. That's okay. I'm just going to cut it off and double-click inside of the symbol that you made. And you can work with layers inside of here, too. So I just created another one by going over to here, pulled it down below what we currently had, and then I'm just going to paste this back in. So I didn't actually lose it, and now it is part of that symbol. And all right, so let's kind of quickly go through the rest of the body here. I'm going to lock up what we currently had, and then let's see how quickly we could do this. You know what? It might be a little bit easier, especially if we're going to actually go with this sketch that I put in here, is just to draw with the line tool and maybe make our head invisible for right now. Gosh, we definitely made it bigger, didn't we? And so then just kind of go through here, do stuff like this. And again, the only thing that you kind of want to watch out for is that these actually intersect one another. And of course, you can always test that to see if you can fill in a shape. And actually, if it doesn't fill in, you can always over here to close small gaps. A lot of times that'll do the trick, or close medium gaps. And you'd almost wonder why it doesn't just automatically do that, but it is just to kind of give you some more precise controls over what you're doing. And let's see, should we do the circle version of the inside here if it's a little plate? If we do that, let's skew that a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this shape. Let me zoom in a bit so you can kind of see what's going on better. So I'm going to copy and paste this and get rid of this. Let's make this dark on the inside, right, like that. And then we can make this a little bit darker, right? So that's definitely got a little bit of depth to it now. Let's grab one of our other lines and just put, you know, do like a line here, maybe a line here. And if these are meant to be kind of the interior lines, obviously they are, maybe just make the stroke a little bit less, perhaps 1.3, so it looks something like that. Let's see. Okay, it looks like maybe this should go down a little bit. We do want to be able to see that cool part because that's certainly something that we could glow. So let's just grab another circle. Don't need a stroke around it. There we go. Oops. Let me work on a new layer. So let's grab an empty layer. And just going to skew that a little bit using the free transform tool. Hit F8 on it. Let's just call this, what is that thing called? Generator or something? I don't know. Wasn't it the entire plot of part 2? Or was it part 1 where that was such a big deal, that thing? Okay, so again, we're just going to glow this thing out just like we did with our eyes, but that certainly looks pretty cool, huh? Right? So, or it could look like, I don't know, Sophia's amulet, something like that. And let's keep working on this same layer with this shape. I think I can get away with it. And kind of do the, let's get this back up 2.2, 2.3 around there. So just connect that to that. Give him his kind of Iron Man bikini bottom, his one piece, something like that, right? And I'm gonna Let's try that. No, I don't want to try a different red. Let's just keep using the same red. And then let's go and switch back to those smaller lines. So 1.5. And just do some stuff like this, right? Does he have a line here? Probably. And of course, by the way, CartoonSmart.com has plenty of more tutorials for you. I actually teach most of the iOS ones, so if you're interested in learning game development, come on over. I'll teach you how to use Swift, SpriteKit, all that good stuff. And if you don't feel like learning code, you can just start with one of our starter kits and skip the whole procedure and just jumpstart making a game, making your graphic novel come to life. Got a great kit for making storybook apps, which could be graphic novels. Doesn't even have to be storybook apps, actually. All right, so I'm kind of guessing away at things over here. If you this is a perfect place actually to put a little shading though. Grab a just a square. You don't need a stroke around it, and let's take the alpha down to about 40%. I'm gonna move up a layer so I can just draw over top of all this and not have to worry about it colliding with what I've already done. I'm just gonna move this around, just reshape it, and you can see. Well, I think that's a perfect place for. Oops. Well, I think it's a perfect place for shading because look at that. Doesn't that feel pretty natural underneath there? Maybe even go a little bit more on it. Let's just take a look at with the head again. Okay, so if you do that, you want to be careful that you don't merge this down into the other layer. So I would just, you don't pay for the symbol, just make as many as you want. So I'm going to call that shadow, and then body. There you go. And nobody got charged any money for that. And let's try to finish out the legs here. Again, I'm just gonna actually at this point I'd probably start taking things that I've already made into a symbol and just combining them into one layer. So all this stuff we've got, let's just go ahead and put it right over there. And we can lock it up again so it's nice and safely out of the way. And let's go finish off with these legs. I could obviously just keep drawing on the same layer. But, this could be something, too, that you want to animate down the road, in which case you're going to want to have separate parts for everything. And you know what? I might just start with a yellow shape for this. And actually, you know what? I've already got that nice gradient. Let's go ahead and double-click inside of here. So I'm going to need a double-click inside of the symbol, and then I'm just going to sample that gradient that we've got, come back out again. And then use that square, and you can see the gradient's in there. So we'll just see what happens with the gradient already in there for the fill. And obviously, I don't think I'd want what's going on right now. But you can hit the F key, and that's going to give you the gradient transform tool. And then you can do some stuff like this. You can maybe move it off to the side. You could squish it some. You could rotate this. And then you're starting to get into the, it looking pretty decent. Probably, I don't know. It's just, I might try something like that. Probably make it a little bit bigger too. Almost to the point where people don't, they don't see the gradient as much. It's there, but it's not there, if that makes any sense. I don't like things like this where you can clearly tell, oh, nice gradient, I see a circle. That's really what I'm trying to obscure, the fact that it's a circle, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And I feel like the same problem is happening here, that it's a little too, hey, look at me. Look at what the guy who illustrated me did. He figured that out. Okay, so yeah, we got some good leg chunks. Let's call this upper leg 1, upper leg 2. And then let's put some iron boots on this guy. All right, so I'm going to try not to overdo this. You'd be actually hard-pressed to find any illustrator in the world that has decided to overdo making a leg, because we all just kind of cop out on that, don't we? We either hide it, put a cloak around it or something. Feet, especially feet straight on like this, are one of the more annoying things to try to draw. Because in reality, what you're looking at is something that's just like this. Like a little, you know, just this little square down at the bottom of the leg, if it's that angle. So it's hard to, it doesn't feel, it never feels right. And so like even right now, that just doesn't feel right to me. This almost feels a bit better. Just almost making it come down to a weird kind of end. In fact, I think I'd probably go with that. I'll do a kind of a kneecap here. I need to work on another layer though, so I can actually go above the what I've currently got. Okay, let's grab our line again, and well, we had it before, but let's just kind of put in here some, you know, mechanical lines that maybe do or do not make sense, or maybe we're not even part of the Iron Man design. That is sort of the fun about drawing something like this, is that you don't really have to stick to the source material, because as soon as you get the head in there, pretty much everything else is like, I don't know what the suit really looks like. I mean, nobody has memorized this thing, so you can do, look, I kind of slipped in a Darth Vader right here, didn't I? See the eyes, and then yeah, the other leg. So, well, once you get that done, yeah, probably, you know what? This would be a great place to do some of this. Copy this, just the stroke, and then go over here to shape, scale, and take it back. Go to transform, scale, and rotate. I can never ever find this if I don't use my hotkey. And then just scale it down a little bit. So I did 60 on there. Move that up just a tad, and then take that down to, you know, just do a 1 right there. And I'd say you could either leave that, or that could be something too that you just fill in with a little bit of a darker color. So, and you could do that in a lot of places that we've already kind of gone through. Like something like that would be great for darker color. Even the entire bottom part here would be good. Or specifically this, which makes me feel like maybe I drew that on a layer above that, because that was clearly should have been filled in. There we go. Something like that. And there you go. So you've got, yeah, see what I'm talking about. Let's try to put these back on the same layer with everything else. There we go. So just paste and place. And then call this boot. Call this, I don't know, kneecap. And then yet again, we could copy some of the filters that we've already got if you want to do that. So go ahead and unlock that. You can go over here and right click, and it's getting cut off, but it says copy all filters. Let's go for it. So we could take pretty much everything we've got down there, paste the filters in. You can see that you get this nice effect. Probably don't want to ruin my gradient entirely, but so maybe just do a little bit over there on that side. But I'm fine with a lot of it on the boot. And then I guess while we're doing this, let's go ahead and do it on this one. Paste filter. And then for this, I think let's swivel, or maybe actually do that. Okay, so then let's get our stroke back up to around 2.3. Again, I'm just going to take everything I've already done that's you know, complete, put it onto its own layer together, and then let's go ahead and put in the rest of that boot. So this guy, let's Let's do a little something like this. Okay, so a lot of times if it's a the side view, obviously it's a lot easier to get the leg, the foot looking right, and most of the time I'll just come down to a square like that, and then I'll just I'll bend that out like so. See the line that I'm bending out, and a lot. I mean, this is obviously a very kind of cute style, but it works for a lot of characters. I feel like just to do that. And then let's kind of speed things up a little bit. I'm not going to overdo this one. Let's put in here a little line, maybe this way. I guess we should try to match this up some, though. No, let's just do something like that. And I'm just going to select that little area. I'll highlight that and fill in a, oh, thought I had it. Put in here a slightly different color. Just so there's a little something going on. And I don't know, maybe one more line. I feel like we got it. Boot. Oop. Boot 2. And that filter should still be in there, so I can go and paste filters. And yeah, I think that looks about right. Okay, so let's do an equally quick arm over here, and maybe let's just do a bit of the hand, so we don't have to go and do the whole arm. So I'm just going to grab another layer, put it behind what I've currently got, and let's fill this in. We'll sample that same red though. All right, his fingers are red, right? Here's a little trick. Make this smaller, so I'm going to scale and rotate this down. Put that right over here. Curve it a little bit, and then I'm going to copy and paste it. And as soon as you do that, it's going to be above what you just had. So then you can just kind of keep doing that to get these fingers in there. You see how that's working? And then, well, we can just probably take that one down like so. And then do, you know, one more for your thumb. Okay. Let's just put all these as one symbol. Back arm. And again, I'm going to paste filters into here, make it a little bit easier. You'll get some interesting ones just because of the shape. Remember, this is an inner shadow, so you know it's kind of figuring out what to do based on the art itself. And probably, I guess we could just kind of take that down a little bit, do something like, oops, oh, thought I had it. Nope. There it is. Doesn't have to make much sense. All right, now let's go ahead and just get rid of the sketch at this point, and let's see how this would work. Something like over here, right, and then do the arm in the front. Okay, so yet again, I'm just gonna take everything I've already got, just put it into one layer. And let's start with maybe kind of a shoulder pad over here. Which I probably should have done on that side too. Shoulder pad. Let's paste in that filter. Good enough. And then work on the hand, which let's Oh, this is made kind of big. So if you're a budding illustrator out there, one of these days you're gonna have to figure out if you're gonna draw your cartoons with 5 fingers or 4. Now that I'm thinking about it, I should look up whatever started that cartoons have. Some of them have 4 fingers instead of 5. I mean, obviously, you can see here that I'm running out of space. It's probably the first guy that ever drew a cartoon ran out of just a little bit of space and was like, I'm not drawing this again. Forget that. 4. And then he turned to the guy next and was like, dude, from here on out, 4. Okay, well, don't Justin, don't drop the ball at the last moment here. Let's see. Let's round this out a little bit. I mean, here's the problem. Probably we need to do a lot more detail. And even if you are just going to do 4, well, at least make them a dramatic 4. So we should probably spread these out a little bit more. Like so. And probably this would be more of a kind of a swooping motion with the hand, but I can live with it like it is. And then let's just draw some lines through here. Let's arc that one just a little bit. Do the same thing over there. Okay, now let's put in here a circle, right? Because doesn't he have that like little circle thing that blasts everybody? Maybe bring that down. And then we could do kind of the same trick that we had before. Let's go ahead and just copy and paste the circle, knock it down to about 90% using that scale and rotate option under modify. In case you forgot, I'll show you one more time, just so I try to remember. Transform, scale, and rotate. There it is. And then let's set this a darker red, so we got that thing happening. And then let's do the whole blasty thing. So let me grab what we've already got. It's all up on there. All right, so hand forward. And what color is this thing? Is this white? Well, let's just go with blue. And just another layer. Okay, so we got the nice little circle here. Hit F8 on it. We can maybe have a little bit of fun by doing a couple glows here. So let's try kind of our primary one, which is that same color blue. Something like this. And then let's try another glow. This time around, we'll make it an inner glow. Let's see what happens if we make that a little darker blue. Ooh, it's looking nice. Let's play with the strength just a little bit. Okay, let's try blasting it out a little bit, which I don't think is going to look as cool on a white background, but let's just see. So just, let's see. That should be above what we had before. There we go, something like this. So again, just pulling in a point here and there. So some action like that, right? And well, this certainly wouldn't work for the email header, although it would be funny. Just completely obscure the logo. But yeah, let's do probably a more whiter color on the inside. And probably get rid of that line too. This is kind of the thing with lightsabers too, is you always, I'm sure when I was a kid I always drew them the color that they were, but really every lightsaber is white. It's just the outside of it that it has the color. Let's see what happens if I draw in the middle of this and then just get rid of, oh well, you know what, I need to merge this down to here. There we go. And then I can get rid of that. Maybe salvage seeing some part of the logo. Something like this. There, maybe I won't be able to see it at all. Yeah, well, maybe that's just not the place for the logo. So, something like that. This might be a tricky one to try to do a glow on, just because we've got this inside part that's doesn't exist. But let's try it anyway. So we'll do a blue glow. Let's set this to high. Set the strength up. Let me try making the color the same as that over there. Oh, that actually looks kind of cool. Yeah, not bad. I'm gonna set the stage size a little bit bigger. Maybe stretch this out. By the way, if you ever want to stretch something out based on a particular point, so for example, when I hit Q and I got free transform, if I were to rotate this, it's going to rotate it around the middle. But if you take that little white thing, the pivot point, move it over there, look what you get. And that also helps for scaling things out too. So, not that I need to, here, I can just cut it off right about there. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I'd probably go and do a few more of these things. So yeah, something like that. Ooh. I like. All right. And then, hey, look, we got rid of the hand too, basically. So that's a good thing. So another thing you can try to do at the very end here is go ahead and select all of the guy. Don't worry about getting the whatever, the beams in there. Maybe take this out, and maybe take that out and that out. So just your parts that just your parts that are not glowing, right? And hit F8 on them. Let's move him back behind where he should be. So you can always go over here to arrange, send it back. Oh, I guess actually I need to put them on the same layers, all that stuff, and then move them back there. But and then just try doing some filters on the entire thing. And you know, you could even look at adjust color. So do things like adjust the contrast. You know, if you kind of get to the end, you're like, oh wait, you know, this looks better with a little bit more contrast across the whole thing. You can do that. Take the brightness down. That looks pretty cool too, actually. Kind of makes the whole thing a lot hotter. Take the saturation down. Of course, you wouldn't want to do that unless you were just trying to make like an evil dark Iron Man. And then, but if you wanted to curl it up a little bit, or I don't know, Bizarro Universe Iron Man, you could change around the hue. And then also to doing some of the same tricks we did before, just either play around with the drop shadow or do a glow on it. A glow, not a glow actually, a drop shadow could look kind of cool because We've only dealt with a dark one right now, but if you went with a blue, obviously you've got this nice blue thing happening on the side. So you could set this to be a inner shadow again. Did that before, but now it's more of a not a dark source, but a light source. And let's take the distance out some and then knock the strength down a little bit. Oh, actually, kind of looks good as it is, doesn't it? Let me take the blurring down. Yeah, the blurring down just a little bit and see if. You know what? I think we need two of them. Watch this. Let's take the distance out a little bit and then take the strength down some. Okay, and then basically just copy the same ones. Copy selected filter. Just fold all these up. Paste it in there. Oh, that unfolded all of them. That's all right. And then it doesn't really matter what stacking order here we put these in, but I'll do the actually that did change the adjust color. But for this drop shadow, I believe this is the second one. Let's just take the distance down and then do the blurring back to about what it was before, 4 and 4, and then take that part up. So it's almost like you get a kind of nice doubling up effect of it. And then, yeah. Something like that. Also, too, if this was going to be animated, I'd say that you could change the strength of this kind of lesser one in here, and I think that would look kind of cool to flicker back and forth, but maybe have more of a consistency with that outside one. Just an idea. Let's take the distance out one more time. Yeah, see, there's something I really like about that weird shape right there, being that odd color green. And then let's see how this would look on the not such a dark background. Well, another common thing you could do too is go over here to your gradient and then take the black off, or just switch it to white, and then take it the alpha all the way down. Oops. See what you end up with is something like this, right? And just get rid of the stroke. Rotate this and do something like that. Hit F8, make it into a symbol, and this would be a good one probably to blur out so it's not such a hard edge. And I think that would look kind of cool on a medium background, something like that. Just gives it a little bit more, I don't know, emphasis. You can also put this over top of the character too, and sometimes that works out well. But maybe not so much here. That looks kind of nice though. And then another thing you can do, I'll just never end this tutorial. Another thing you can do is, I'm filibustering, that's what I'm doing right now, is go over here to your display, and then you can see how that looks with changing some of these effects. So just click on one of them and then just hit down on the keyboard, and then you can kind of cycle through these and see what happens. Although it, some of them are meant more for colors that are not black and white. Like you almost don't notice much of a difference with a lot of these. In fact, I think just the normal one looks kind of cool. But so there you go, and be sure to go check out the CartoonSmart.com website, where you get to learn a lot of stuff from me and some of my awesome other instructors out there. But if you are interested in game development, I'm probably your guy. If you're working for the, if you want to make a game for the iPhone, iPad, or big hot new system now is the tvOS. I've seen some great sales there, so a lot of opportunity, especially with the TV, because you can be a kind of a big fish in a small pond these days. So anyway, come visit me over at the site, and you can ask me anything you want.